The rain had been falling for hours. Cold drops hit the empty street. Water moved slowly along the road. Streetlights flickered in the dark night. Cars passed by without slowing down, and she was still there. She stood at the same corner she had stood at for 3 years. People in the city knew about her. Some called her the Rain Girl. Some thought she was crazy. Some believed she was homeless. Others just did not care. But no one really knew the truth. She stood under the open sky, never using an umbrella. Her long dark hair was always wet. Her clothes were always soaked. The rain touched her face, but she never wiped it away. In her hands, she held a small, glowing sign. The sign was not made of paper. It was not made of plastic. It looked like light shaped into a thin square. Strange symbols moved across it slowly, glowing soft blue in the darkness. No one could read it. Some people once tried to take pictures of it, but the photos always came out blurry. She did not beg. She did not speak. She did not ask for money. She just stood there. Morning came. The rain continued. Office workers walked past her. They were in a hurry. They checked their phones. They avoided eye contact. A mother pulled her child closer when they walked by. 2 teenagers laughed and pointed at. An old man stopped once, looked at her face, then shook his head and walked away. 3 years, summer heat had burned the city. She stood there. Winter snow had covered the road. She stood there. Storms had broken trees and flooded streets. She stood there. She never left. At night, when the city became quiet, she still remained in the same place. Her glowing sign lit the darkness around her. Sometimes stray dogs slept near her feet. She never moved. It was as if she was waiting. But for what? Some people believed she was waiting for a lost lover. Some believed she had nowhere else to go. Some believed she was not even real. But there was something strange about her. She did not look tired. She did not look hungry. She did not shiver in the cold. Her eyes stayed open, calm and focused, always watching the road as if she expected someone to come. 3 years ago, on the first night she appeared, there had been a loud sound in the sky. Many people reported seeing a bright flash above the city. The news called it a meteor. The government said it was nothing important. The next morning, she was standing there, and she never moved again. The rain grew heavier. Thunder rolled across the sky. Cars splashed water as they rushed home. She tightened her grip on the glowing sign. The strange symbols shifted again. Time was running out, though no one knew that. A digital clock inside the sign counted down silently. The numbers were not in human language, but they were moving closer to 0. 3 years was almost over. A black car slowed down as it passed her. For a moment, it looked like it might stop. It did not. She watched it disappear into the night. Her face did not change, but something in her eyes dimmed slightly. Then footsteps echoed on the wet pavement. A man was walking home from work. He wore a simple jacket. He looked tired. His shoes were wet from the rain. He had passed her many times before. Tonight, he almost did the same. He walked by her shoulder. 1 step, 2 steps. Then he slowed down. For some reason, he felt something different. He stopped walking. The rain poured down between them. Slowly, he turned around. For the first time in 3 years, someone truly looked at her. Not with fear, not with laughter, not with anger, but with concern. Her eyes met his. They were not normal eyes. There was something deeper inside them, something ancient, something not from this world. The glowing sign in her hands flickered brighter. The symbols changed again. The countdown moved closer to 0. The man took one careful step toward her. And in that silent moment, under the cold rain, the future of Earth quietly began to change. The rain did not stop. It fell harder, as if the sky itself was watching. The man stood in front of her, unsure what to say. Water ran down his face. His jacket was already soaked. But he did not move away. Up close, she looked even stranger. Her skin was pale, almost glowing under the streetlight. Not white like paper, but soft like moonlight. Her eyes were calm, but deep, too deep. He swallowed. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly. She did not answer. The glowing sign in her hands flickered again. The strange blue symbols moved faster now. He looked at the sign carefully. It was not written in any language he knew. The shapes were sharp and curved at the same time. They shifted slowly, like they were alive. "This isn't normal," he whispered. For 3 years, he had walked past her like everyone else. He had seen her in winter snow and summer heat. Tia told himself it was not his problem, but tonight felt different. Maybe it was the way she looked at him, not begging, not weak, just waiting, he noticed. Something else, she was not shaking from the cold. Her breathing was slow and steady. Her clothes were wet, but her body did not seem affected by the freezing rain. It was wrong, very wrong. "I can help you," he said, though he did not know how. For the first time, her fingers moved slightly on the sign. The symbols changed. The light became brighter. He stepped closer. That was when he saw it, at the bottom of the glowing sign beneath the strange writing. There was a small line of text. It was faint, almost hidden in English, requesting assistance. His heart skipped. You can understand me?" he asked. Her eyes shifted slightly. Then, slowly, she nodded. The movement was small, but clear. He felt a chill, and not from the rain. "You've been here for 3 years," he said. "Why didn't you speak?" Her lips parted slightly. When she spoke, her voice was soft, calm, almost mechanical. "Protocol." Just one word. He frowned. "Protocol. What does that mean?" She looked at the street, at the cars passing, at the people hurrying home. "Observation period," she said quietly. The glowing sign flickered again. The strange symbols began to rearrange themselves. Slowly, they started forming English words. Incomplete, broken, but understandable, awaiting response. He felt his stomach tighten. Response from who? He asked. She looked up at the dark sky. Not at the buildings, not at the lights, but at the clouds above. "My people." She said. Thunder rolled across the sky as if answering her. His breath became heavy. "You're not human," he whispered. She did not answer directly. Instead, she lifted the glowing sign slightly and turned it toward him. The English words became clearer now. Test subject deployed. Human behavioral study. Duration, 3 Earth years. His heart pounded. "You were studying us?" he asked. "Yes." The word was simple. No emotion. He stepped back slightly. His mind raced. "So all this time, you were waiting to see if someone would help you?" "Yes." "And if no one did?" There was a long pause. The rain softened for a moment. Then she answered. Conclusion: hostile species. The words felt like ice. Hostile, not kind, not safe, dangerous. He looked around at the empty street, at the cars driving past without slowing down, at the people ignoring the girl in the rain. 3 years, no one had stopped until now. He looked back at the glowing sign at the bottom corner. Small numbers were counting down. He did not understand the symbols, but he understood a timer. When he saw one, "How much time is left?" he asked. She looked at the sign. 2 days, she said calmly. 2 days, after that, her people would decide. He imagined ships in the sky, Weapons beyond human understanding. Advanced technology, watching Earth like an experiment. All waiting for a result. And the result, so far, was failure. You were never homeless, he whispered. No, you were never lost. No, you were testing us. Yes, the rain began falling harder again. He felt anger rise inside him, not a T. Her dotted himself at everyone. 3 years. And no one had truly seen her. He took a deep breath. I stopped, he said quietly. Her eyes focused on him again. Yes, she replied. For the first time, something changed in her expression. It was small, almost invisible, but it was their hope. The timer on the sign continued counting down 2 days, and for the first time in 3 years. She was not standing alone in the rain. The next morning, the rain finally stopped. Gray clouds still covered the sky, but the street was quiet. Water drops fell from rooftops. The city slowly came back to life. She was still standing in the same place. But now she was not alone. The man returned. He had not slept much. Her words kept repeating in his mind. Conclusion: hostile species. 2 days, only 2 days left. He walked toward her, holding a small paper bag. Inside, it was a bottle of water and some food. He did not know if she needed it, but it felt wrong to come empty-handed. When he reached her, she looked at him again. You came back, she said softly. Yes, he answered. He held out the bottle. I don't know if you drink water, but here. She looked at it carefully, like she was studying it. Then she shook her head. My body does not require it. He nodded slowly. Of course it did. Cars passed behind him. People stared for a moment, then continued walking. Nothing had changed for them, but everything had changed for him. Are they watching? He asked quietly. Her eyes moved slightly. To the left, across the street. A black van was parked near a coffee shop. It had tinted windows, engine running. They have always been watching, she said. His heart dropped. The government? He whispered. Yes. He felt anger again. So they knew. Okay. He asked. Yes. And they did nothing. She did not answer, but she did not need to. At that moment, the door of the black van opened. 2 men stepped out. They wore dark suits, not police, not military, something else. They walked across the street calmly. The man felt his body tense. They are coming, he said. I know, she replied. The 2 agents stopped a few steps away. One of them spoke first. His voice was cold and controlled. Sir, we need to speak with you. The man swallowed. About what? You have been interacting with this individual. The agent did not look at her when he said that. She has a name. The man asked quickly. The agents ignored the question. You need to step away. The second agent said firmly. No, the man replied before he could stop himself. The word surprised even him. The agent's eyes narrowed slightly. This is a matter of national security, the first one said. You are interfering. Interfering with what? The man asked. She's just standing here. The second agent finally looked at her. She is not just standing here, he said quietly. There was tension in his voice. Fear, the man realized. Something important. They were not in control. They were afraid to, she told me, the man said, carefully. 2 days. Both agents froze for half a second. That was enough. You knew. The man said. The first agent sighed softly. We have monitored this situation since day 1, he admitted, when she arrived. So you saw the ship? The man asked. Yes. You knew this was a test? The agent did not answer directly, but silence was answer enough. You let 3 years pass, the man said, anger rising. You let her stand here. It was not that simple, the agent replied sharply. We did not know her intention. We did not know if she was a threat. And now? The man asked. The second agent looked up at the sky. Our satellites detect something, he said quietly. The man followed his gaze. The sky looked normal, but he felt something heavy in the air. Her people are near. The agent continued. A cold feeling ran through the man's body. How near? Asked. The agent looked at his watch. Closer than you think. The glowing sign in her hands suddenly became brighter. The numbers at the bottom began to move faster. The countdown had accelerated. She looked at the man. Your presence has altered the observation, she said calmly. Is that bad? He asked. Unknown, the agent stepped back slightly. For the first time, he looked unsure. We need to take her into custody, the first agent said quickly. No. The man stepped in front of her without thinking. You don't understand, the agent warned. If they see aggression, a deep vibration filled the air. It was low at first, then stronger car. Alarms began to go off down the street. People looked up in confusion. The clouds above started to move in a strange pattern, not natural, not wind. Something massive was pushing through them. The agents' radios began crackling with urgent voices. It's here. One of them whispered. The man looked at her. Her eyes were fixed on the sky. No fear. Only waiting. The vibration became louder. Shadows formed inside the clouds. Huge. Moving, the entire street fell silent. The countdown on her sign showed less than 48 hours. But something had changed. Her people were no longer just watching. They had arrived, and this time, they were not alone in observing. They were judging. The clouds did not break with lightning. They opened, slowly, unnaturally. The sky above the city began to twist in a silent circle. Dark clouds moved apart as if something enormous was pushing through them from the other side. People stopped walking. Cars stopped in the middle of the road. Every phone lifted into the air. The man stood beside her, unable to breathe. A massive shape appeared above the clouds, not falling, not crashing, hovering. It was larger than any building in the city, smooth and silver. No wings, no fire, no sound of engines, just a deep vibration that shook the ground like a distant earthquake. The alien ship had arrived. The two agents stepped back, speaking urgently into their radios. It's fully visible, one of them said. This is global now. Across the world, satellites captured the image. News channels cut into live broadcasts. Social media exploded in seconds. But on that small, wet street, it felt silent, personal. The girl stood still, holding her glowing sign. The blue light reflected in her calm eyes. The man looked at her. Did you call them? He asked quietly. No, she answered. They come when observation ends, and has it ended? She did not respond. Instead, the sign in her hands changed again. The strange symbols disappeared. New words formed in English. Final evaluation phase. The man's stomach tightened. Above them, a section of the massive ship shifted. A circular opening formed underneath it, glowing with soft, white light. The agents moved quickly. Sir, step away from her now. One shouted. The man did not move. If they see force, he said, remembering her words, they will think we are hostile. The agent hesitated because he knew it was true. Around them, people began gathering. Some filmed. Some stared in fear. Some cried. Some prayed. The entire world was watching the same sky. The girl finally spoke again. My people expected violence, she said calmly. They expected fear. The man looked around at the crowd. People were afraid, but they were not attacking, not running either. They were watching, waiting, just like she had waited. 3 years in the rain, ignored, tested, judged. The man felt something heavy inside his chest. How? Many others have you tested? He asked softly. Many worlds, she replied, and most failed. The words hit him hard. Above the white light from the ship grew brighter. A beam began forming. Not like a weapon, more like a scanner. It moved slowly across the city. Buildings reflected in its glow. The air felt charged. Suddenly, military helicopters appeared in the distance. They circled carefully, keeping their distance from the giant ship. The agents looked nervous. "This is out of our control," Fuen whispered. The man stepped closer to her. "What happens now?" he asked. She looked at the crowd forming around them, at the people who had once ignored her. Now they stood in silence, watching. Double quotes now. She said quietly, "They measure your response." The beam of light slowly moved downward, closer to the street, closer to her, closer to him. The man's heart pounded loudly in his ears. He could run. Anyone would. Understand, no one would blame him. But he did not move. Instead, he did something simple. He removed his jacket, still wet from last night's rain, and gently placed it. Over her shoulders, gasps came from the crowd. Cameras zoomed in. The girl looked at him, confused. "You do not need this," she said. "I know," he replied softly. But that's not the point. For the first time since she arrived on Earth, her expression changed clearly. Not confusion, not calculation. Something warmer. The beam of light stopped directly above them. A soft pulse spread through the street. The glowing sign in her hands, VIBRATED. New words appeared, unexpected variable detected. The man looked up at the giant ship. "What does that mean?" he asked. She answered slowly. "It means you were not predicted." Above, the circular opening on the ship shifted again. Smaller lights began appearing around its edges. The agents received new messages through their radios. "It's scanning emotional patterns," one said quietly. "Scanning what?" the other asked. "Human behavior." The crowd grew larger, but something was different now. No, one was laughing. No one was mocking. A young woman stepped forward from the crowd, then an older man, then a teenager, without speaking. They formed a loose circle around the girl, not attacking, not worshipping, simply standing beside her. The beam pulsed again. The words on her sign shifted once more, collective response increasing. She looked around slowly, her voice softened. This was not expected. The man felt hope rising inside him, high above. The massive alien ship remained silent, watching, measuring, judging, and for the first time in 3 years, humanity was finally responding. The giant ship remained still in the sky. It did not attack, it did not speak, it only watched. The white beam of light slowly faded, but the pressure in the air did not disappear. It felt like the whole planet was holding its breath. The crowd around the girl grew larger. More people stepped closer, even though fear was clear in their eyes. The man stood beside her, his wet jacket resting on her shoulders. He looked up at the massive ship again. "They are waiting," he said quietly. "Yes," she replied. "For what?" She looked down at the glowing sign in her hands. The blue light was softer now. The countdown numbers were still moving. Less than 24 hours remained. "They are waiting for the final result," she said. He frowned. "I thought this was the final phase." "It is," she answered, "but not the way you think." The people around them listened carefully. Some were still recording. Others had lowered their phones. The helicopters above kept their distance. The agents in black suits stood near the edge of the crowd, watching closely. The man looked back at her. "Then tell me the truth, all of it." She was silent for a long moment. Then she spoke. "I was not sent to test your kindness." The words confused him. Then what were you testing? He asked. She looked at the sky. My people do not fear violence, she said calmly. We understand war. We understand power. Then what do you fear? He asked. Her eyes slowly returned to the crowd. We fear indifference. The word felt heavy. Indifference, he repeated. Yes, she said. When a species no longer sees suffering, when they no longer react, when they walk past pain as if it does not exist. The crowd grew very quiet. For 3 years. She continued. I stood in your reign. I showed weakness. I showed need. I showed vulnerability. She looked at the man, and almost no one responded. His chest felt tight. But I did, he said softly. Yes, she replied. You did? She looked at the growing circle of people around her, and now others are. He swallowed. So what happens if we fail? For the first time, her face looked serious. If my people believe your species feels nothing for others, she said, they will not destroy you. The man blinked. That was not the answer he expected. They will leave, she finished. Leave? He asked. Yes. The word sounded simple. But it felt worse than war. We are explorers, she explained. We share knowledge, technology, protection, alliance. She looked at the ship above. We do not connect with species that cannot connect with each other. Silence spread through the crowd. The agents looked at each other. So this is not about invasion, the man said slowly. No, she replied. It is about whether we deserve to join something bigger. Yes, above them, the alien ship shifted slightly. Soft waves of light moved across its surface. They are reviewing 3 years of data. She said. The man imagined it. Every person who ignored her, every car that passed, every moment of silence. 3 years of proof that humans were too busy, too distracted, too disconnected. His heart sank. We are going to fail. He whispered. She looked at him carefully. Your action created a change in the pattern, she said. Is it enough? He asked. I do not know. The glowing sign flickered again. New words appeared. Collective empathy spike detected. The man looked around. More people were stepping forward. A woman removed her umbrella and held it over both of them. A young boy stepped out of his father's arms and offered a small chocolate bar. An old man gently touched the girl's hand. No. One spoke loudly. No one cheered. They simply stayed together. The sky above began to glow brighter. A soft tone filled the air, like a deep musical note. The girl looked up. They are preparing to announce their decision, she said. The man felt fear again. Not fear of death, fear of rejection, fear that humanity had waited too long. The sign in her hands began displaying images, scenes from the past 3 years, people walking by her, looking away, ignoring. Then, finally, the image changed. It showed him stopping in the rain, turning back, choosing to care. Then it showed others, joining, standing together. The soft tone grew louder. The ship's lower section opened again. A column of light formed, brighter than before. The girl took a slow breath. My people value one thing above all, she said quietly. What? He asked. Choice collided. The light expanded, surrounding the crowd in a soft glow. The world waited, and for the first time in history, humanity was not being judged by its power, but by its heart. The column of light did not burn, it did not hurt. It felt warm, soft, like sunlight after a long storm. The crowd stood still inside it. No one screamed, no one ran. Even the helicopters in the sky stopped moving, as if time itself had slowed down. The massive alien ship above the city began to glow along its edges. Lines of silver light moved across its surface like veins waking. Up then, a voice filled the air. It did not come from speakers. It did not echo. It simply existed. Everywhere at once, clear.com.ancient. Observation complete. The crowd looked around in fear. The man felt the sound inside his chest more than in his ears. Beside him, the girl stood straight, her eyes focused on the ship. "My people speak," she said softly to Cupt. The voice continued. 3 Earth years of behavioral data reviewed. Above them, the clouds fully cleared. The sky turned dark blue, even though it was still day. Images appeared in the air inside the beam of light. Huge. Holograms. Moments from the past 3 years. The girl standing in heavy rain. People walking past. Her, looking away, ignoring her glowing sign. The crowd began to murmur. Some lowered their heads in shame. The voice spoke again. Primary pattern detected. Social disengagement. The words felt heavy. Cold, the man felt guilt pressing against his heart. He remembered all the times he had passed. Her before that night. He had seen her, but he had chosen not to stop. The images changed. Now, they showed him turning around, stopping. In the rain, looking into her eyes, then placing his jacket on her. Shoulders, the voice paused. Unexpected deviation recorded. The beam of light pulsed brighter. The hologram showed. More people stepping forward. The woman with the umbrella. The boy with the chocolate. The old man touching her hand, then dozens more, then hundreds, standing together. Collective empathy response. Increasing, the voice said. The man swallowed. He whispered, "Please." He did not know who he was speaking to. The ship remained silent for a long moment. Then the voice changed slightly. Less cold, more thoughtful. Human species displays. Internal conflict. Images flashed quickly. War, pollution, arguments. Anger, then different images. Doctors helping strangers. Firefighters carrying children. Volunteers feeding the poor. People hugging people, crying together. People protecting each other. The girl looked at the man. "This is the final measure," she said quietly. "What measure?" he asked. "Whether your compassion is stronger than your indifference." The beam of light slowly expanded beyond the small circle. It spread across nearby buildings, across streets, across the city, around the world. People watched the live broadcast. Many began stepping outside their homes, standing in silence, holding hands, lighting candles. The agents in black suits removed their earpieces. They were no longer receiving orders. No government was in control. Now the voice spoke again. Humanity stands at a threshold. The massive ship shifted slightly lower in the sky. It was closer now, closer than any alien craft had ever been in history. 2 paths available, the voice continued. Isolation. The word echoed heavily. Or alliance. The crowd held its breath. The man felt tears in his eyes. He looked at the girl. "What do they need?" he asked. She looked at him carefully. "Not words," she said. "Not promises." "Then what?" She slowly reached out her hand toward him. He hesitated only for a second. Then he took it. Her skin felt warm now, not cold like the rain. The crowd watched. Then something simple happened. The woman with the umbrella reached for the old man's hand. The old man held the boy's hand, one by one. People connected, strangers, different ages, different races, different beliefs, but standing together. The beam of light reacted. It brightened suddenly. The holograms changed again. Now they showed millions of small live images from around the world. People stepping outside, helping neighbors, standing in rain, holding signs that read, "You are not alone." We choose kindness. We see you. The voice grew softer. Empathy response exceeding projection models. The man looked up at the ship. His voice shook. We are not perfect, he said loudly, but we are trying. The girl squeezed his hand slightly. The beam of light pulsed one last time. The countdown on her glowing sign reached 0. For a second, everything went silent. No wind, no sound, no movement. The entire world waited for a single answer. Above them, the alien ship began to change color, from cold silver to warm gold. The voice spoke one final time. Final decision initiating, and the future of humanity balanced on a single, fragile moment. The sky glowed gold, not bright like fire, not sharp like lightning, but warm, gentle. The massive alien ship above the city no longer looked cold and distant. Its silver surface now shimmered with soft golden light, like sunrise after a long night. The entire world was silent. Millions of people stood outside their homes. In cities, in villages, on rooftops. In streets, watching the sky, waiting. The man still held her hand. He could feel her fingers tremble slightly for the first time. Even she did not know what would happen next. The alien voice returned. But now, it sounded different, not distant, not judging, almost respectful. Humanity evaluated. The golden light spread wider across the sky. Initial conclusion: high levels of indifference. A heavy feeling moved through the crowd. The man lowered his head slightly. He knew it was true. The voice continued. Secondary conclusion: high capacity for empathy. The crowd looked up again. The beam of light around them became softer, warmer. Tertiary conclusion: compassion increases when choice becomes visible. The girl looked at the man. This is important, she whispered. The voice paused, then spoke the words every human heart was waiting for. Final verdict: humanity is accepted. For 1 second, no one moved. Then the sky exploded with light. Not destructive, beautiful, golden waves spread across the clouds like ripples in water. The massive alien ship lowered slightly, no longer hiding in the sky, but standing proudly above. The planet tears filled the man's eyes. We did it, he whispered. The girl's face changed fully now, for the first time in 3 years. She smiled. It was small, but real. My people see potential, she said softly above them. Smaller lights separated from the main ship, not weapons, not drones. Ships sleek and elegant. They spread across the sky, appearing over different continents. The alien voice spoke again. Alliance protocol beginning. Holograms filled the air once more. This time not showing failure, but possibility. Advanced medical technology that could cure diseases. Clean energy systems that could power cities without pollution. Star maps showing other worlds in the galaxy. Images of peaceful alien species standing together. The crowd watched in wonder. The agents in black suits stared at the sky. Speechless, governments around the world could no longer hide. This moment, it belonged to everyone. The voice continued. Humanity will not be given power. The man felt a small fear again. Humanity will be given opportunity. The girl turned toward him. You are not perfect, she said gently, but you are capable of growth. That is rare. The golden light slowly began to fade. The pressure in the air disappeared. The giant alien ship slowly started rising higher into the sky. Will you leave? The man asked her quickly. She looked at him. For now, she answered. His chest tightened. But I will return, she added. She stepped forward into the center of the golden beam. The crowd watched quietly. 3 years ago, she said loudly, so everyone could hear. I stood in your rain to see if you could see me. Her eyes moved across the people around her. Many did not. She looked at the man, but one did. The crowd turned toward him. He felt embarrassed. He had done something small. He had only stopped walking. But sometimes small choices change everything. My people do not measure strength by weapons, she continued. We measure it by the ability to care. The beam of light began lifting her slowly off the ground. The man tightened his grip on her hand. Thank you, he said. She looked down at him. No, she replied softly. Thank you for stopping. Her hand slipped gently from his as she rose higher into the light. Within seconds, she reached the lower opening of the alien ship. The golden glow around it became brighter. Then, slowly, the ship began to disappear. Not flying away fast, but fading like a star at sunrise within moments. The sky returned to normal. Blue. Plu.m. The world stood in silence. No explosions, no destruction. Only a new understanding. The man remained standing in the same spot. The rain had stopped. The street was dry, but something inside humanity had changed forever. People began looking at each other differently, not as strangers, but as something connected above Earth. Far beyond the clouds, the alien ship sent one final message before jumping to the stars. Humanity's greatest power is not strength, it is choice. And on a small street where a girl once stood alone in the rain for 3 years, the world had finally chosen to see